and we have some welcome back reminders. That's pretty much what our program is about today, is giving you updates and reminders of what's going on and kind of going over a few things with you for the upcoming year. You know, we take off and we're off a little bit in the summer, and it just seems like sometimes we forget exactly what we're doing when we come back, or, you know, how we did it, you know, that sort of thing. So we're just kind of going over those as just gently friendly reminders. Okay. The one thing I do want to bring up is that we will be having our MAPT workshop in October. That Missouri Association for Pupil Transportation is the one that does this for the workshop. It should be a really good workshop this year. It is at Fox, the Rickman Auditorium. That is the only location that they are going to have it, and that is that one day, and that's the 24th of October. It'll be like from 7 to 8:30, I think is what it is, time-wise. They will, I'm sure, have a transportation way down there, maybe a bus that someone will, you know, who all wants to go can hop the bus and head down. We're hoping we get as many people as we can. It should be a really good one. It is, what is your purpose? And what is your purpose as a driver? What's your purpose as a monitor on the bus type thing, and just in general. So it's kind of more, like I said, motivational, and it should be a really good one. I'm going to be posting it up on the board for you to do your sign-in, so if you're attending, please do that. I will be bringing that down on October the 5th, and the reason for that is I do have to get MAPT account of who else is going to be attending, how many, and I do have to send that over as well to the accounting to get paid, so it's covered. You do not pay that, the district covers your costs. So take advantage of that if you can and attend it, and you will get credit. I log that in as training hours for you as well. So, the next thing that I have is IDs. We need to really make sure that we're starting to kind of hang on to these and wear them as much as we possibly can, especially when you are going into buildings. You know, you're going to New Order, Litzingers, Southview, if you're going into CO, your IDs are really needed. That just lets them know at the school that you are a school official. You work for the district. And even if you're going to your partnership schools, if you have yours, at least they know then that you are an official employee with special school district. Today, in this day and world that we have, they don't know who's who going in and out of buildings, and you know, that's why they went to the whole beeping, you know, people in and all that. So it's really important to try and make sure that you have your ID with you on your premise, you know, while you're out on your bus. I understand not wearing it in here, I get that. And I do understand that's really hard, like when you're leaning over doing chairs, or you're doing, I get that. Either like we do, we flip it around to the back while we're doing that, or you can take it off for that moment and then remember to put it back on maybe if you do get off the bus. But having it with you on the bus, so that way as well that someone comes onto the bus, you have it as a form of ID. A police officer may need that as well to show that you are an official employee. I mean, you never know. I mean, this is a crazy world, like I said. Someone crazy may hop your bus. They don't know you are the employee or the soon-to-be shooter. I mean, they wouldn't know that.
Okay, question. I have this ID which has no
It's not an
pin.
ID. The white card is not an ID, guys.
Okay, but I saved this one when I first started.
That is your ID.
So do they provide a new one?
No, this is your ID. See, it says on there, special school district. It's got a picture of your on there. It's got your name and what your title is.
Well,
Bus driver, bus monitor, safety manager.
What I'm saying is, this is when I first started.
Right, this is the
That's
ID.
it.
Well, you can still
I
use
just
it.
happen to
It's
save
still,
it.
and that is what you need. This is your
Okay.
official ID. This is
Okay.
what you need. This is what I'm saying, ID. This is your WFM card. All this does for you is clock you in and out. It won't get you in a building. It doesn't show who you are unless you're, you know, a card, a white card. That's all it shows.
But what I really want to know is.
You have to have both.
Oh, okay.
You have to have both.
Okay.
And if you want to get a new ID with a photo on it like that, you can. They will charge you. Well, no, they won't charge you for it.
But the
They charge you for
barcode-
this one, sorry.
But
if
the
you lose this one.
barcode won't be on the back.
No.
Okay.
The barcode was our old
Right.
system that you swiped,
Right.
remember?
Right.
And then they went to the new WFM, and that's why you had to have the new one.
Okay.
So this for WFM, and you can keep them together.
Yeah, I do.
And and they work right through your plastic.
Okay.
And if you do need another plastic sleeve, we can get those, we have them, I know I have them, they have them in there.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you do need them, of course, you've got a handy dandy one there.
Yeah.
That's great. So, any questions with that? Yeah,
If, when we go to like central office, do personals, all the other district employees, they just.
right. That's because they have a room there. I go to CO every day, sometimes twice a day, but I go there every day. I don't have a way to get in, they have to buzz me in.
But if no one's there, that's.
You don't go in. If they don't buzz you in, you can't get in because you don't have an office there. That's what I'm saying. That's why you need to have these, because when you go in, they're gonna wanna know that you're an employee here, how to direct where you need to go. So that's why it's important that you have these if you're going in the building. Same thing with new owner. They have a little thing there that shows who you are, and they'll know, I mean, if you have this showing, they can tell then you're an employee, they'll buzz you in. Does that make sense?
I believe the downstairs, the lower level, there's not always somebody at that desk. But if you go to the entrance towards new owner, I believe from 7 to 5:30, there's always somebody there.
Well, actually, Andrew does work in the lower level, but he may have to run to the bathroom or something like that because they don't have two people. Upstairs,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, they do have two
They have
people
two.
and they take turns.
Right, so,
So-
and then Andrew doesn't have to be there till 8.
Right,
So if you're there before 8, you can go to the side entrance, which is actually the main entrance.
across from new owner.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So, and that may be in some cases that Litzinger or Southview, all those other schools, same thing with Parker schools. What I failed to mention earlier, and I want to get you to as a reminder, and maybe you could tell your fellow people if they hear this, Safe Schools is due on September the 14th. I forgot to mention that. So, if you haven't done it, you better get on it, because it's coming soon. It's all you.
Guys, I'm here to talk about parking lots. This is a nice little diagram of our parking lot. If you notice, we have one way in, one way out. If you park over there by the gas pumps and you make a left and you head out, you're going the wrong way. You have to make a right and you have to go all the way around the parking lot. Another nice little thing that I've noticed since being here, right here by the front office, there's a stop sign. Well, it's on the ground. It says stop. We want you guys to stop there. That's a mandatory thing. You gotta stop, you gotta look. People could be walking across, cars could be coming, pulling up. You gotta stop. What's the speed limit on the parking lot?
5 miles or less.
5 miles an hour. How many people do 5, actually? In their car, in a bus, anything? Get one person. Out of the store. Guys, if you have prescription sunglasses, at 5 o'clock in the morning, you don't need your prescription sunglasses. It's not light out yet. The sun's not out. You don't need the prescription sunglasses to walk across the lot. Okay? Let's be safe with walking across the lot. Driver's responsibilities. These are just a few of the driver's responsibilities. We're not going to touch on all of them, but we are going to cover like pre-trip, post-trip, equipment management, student management, route management, completion of paperwork, doing it correctly, child check, safe driving, and the main one we really want to hit on, teamwork. I know there's a lot of good teams out there, driver and monitor, but there's also some that really need to strengthen. How often do you ask your monitor to get up and help back you up? How often do you help your monitor secure wheelchairs? Do anything like that, double check the kids. Drivers need to be doing this tag team. And I'm gonna turn it over to Kevin for monitors.
So monitor responsibility. Yes, you guys have pre-trip as well. You should be checking your equipment. That's why you get the 5 minutes. Get out there, check your equipment. Make sure it's serviceable, make sure it's on the bus, nobody's borrowed it. All your wheelchair equipment, all that stuff is there. And then 5 minutes is in social minutes. So it's time to get out on your bus and do your part of the pre-trip. Student management falls back to that teamwork thing. It's not the driver's responsibility to manage students. It's not the monitor's responsibility to manage students. It's both of your responsibility to manage your students on your bus. We want your monitors to manage the students effectively enough to where your driver can concentrate on operating the bus. Equipment management kind of falls back to the pre-trip. Make sure you're checking your equipment, that it's serviceable, it's all there. If you have 5 wheelchair spots on your bus, or 3, or however many wheelchair spots you have on your bus, you should have enough equipment for each one of those spots. If you don't, please let me know, but not right now. Child checks. Child checks is monitor's responsibility. It's also the driver's responsibility. Everything pretty much we do here, other than the driver driving that bus, is a teamwork philosophy right here. Both of you are supposed to be checking, doing your child checks. We'll get more specific with that here in a little bit. Assisting with backing. When you're out on route, monitor, you need to make sure you're going to the very back of the bus and observing in the back of the bus for your driver to make sure they're not backing up over anything and nothing's changing. That doesn't mean move to the back seat, move to the front of the lift. It means to move to the very back of the bus. And drivers should be affording you the time to do that. On campus, make sure you get off, walk to the back of the bus, sidewalk side, so that you can monitor the backing of the bus and the activity on the sidewalk at the same time. And once again, it's all about teamwork. We preach that philosophy over and over and over. We want you guys working as a team. If you got 3 wheelchairs on that bus, your hookup driver should be back there assisting you with those hookups. It's their responsibility to make sure their students are secure and ready to go before they move that bus, regardless of who did the hookups. Pre-trip and post-trip. When should you be doing your pre-trip and post-trips? At the beginning and end of every shift. It's twice a day. 3 times if you got midday. DVR books, how many do you need on a bus? There should be 2 DVR books on your bus. One you're working on and the one that you just completed. If you have more than 2, then you need to be getting the other ones turned in. When you turn in a DVR book, make sure you flip it over on the back, put the bus number, the date you started the pre-trips in that book, and the date you finished the pre-trips in that book on the back of those books. And then you can turn them in, and then that way if we need to go back and look for a book, we can identify it by bus and period of time, instead of having to look through every pre-trip book to figure out what's what. If you have problems or you have some sort of deficiency on your bus, make sure you turn in that white sheet at the end of that run, or when you find the deficiency, whichever it might be. You should be turning it in at the minimum at the end of that run so that it can be pulled and looked at and hopefully fixed before your next run. Attendance, again, make sure you're checking equipment, your safety equipment. Talk about equipment needs. Off route sheet, we've got a file box over here. Every route that is day required has a slot in that box that has your route sheet, your folder, which would have your BIP and your medical treatment plans in there. At this time of year, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:15 in the morning, that box should be empty. Everything should be out on your bus with you, because it is too early in the year to be able to tell us that you have everything down about your kids and all their behaviors and all their medical treatment committed up here that quick. So those boxes should be empty. And then when you come back in, make sure you're putting it back in that box. It should only be either with you on the bus or in that box.
Okay, so during the unloading and loading process, what system are you guys using? Are you using your hazards or your 8-ways?
Anyway,
8 ways, yay. Are you setting your brake?
Yes.
Are you putting in neutral or parking brake or PB? These are things that you have to do. And this is the best thing that I want you guys to do. I want you guys to greet kids on and off the bus. You guys are the first person they see with the school day. Greet them. Good morning, how are you doing? Bye, have a great day, have a good weekend. Interact with your kids. Get to know them. Are you setting the example? The way you behave on the bus is how the kids transfer into school. If you have an attitude of, don't talk to me, Jerry, today, you were horrible last night, that's gonna transfer into school. But if you forget, last night was last night, maybe they had a bad day, keep it off the bus. Keep the bus, try to keep it positive. When you are loading and stuff, do you leave your 8 ways on the whole time when you're loading, like wheelchairs or anything like that? I see a shaking of the head.
Yeah.
Don't think about, that motorist that's been sitting there for 5 minutes and they have to get to work. I don't care about them. I care about the safety of the kids getting on the bus. So leave them on.
And they zoom around.
So railroad crossings, we talked about railroad crossings. We're talking about 4-way hazards or the lights you should be using. Stopping at the tracks should be how many feet? 15 to 50 feet. No closer than 15, no farther back than 50. If there's a white line, stop line on that ground, stop at that stop line. That's what it's there for, it's designated for that. Do we open our windows? Absolutely. We open up our driver's window. Do we open up our doors? Absolutely not. We do not open up our doors at SFT because of our students with elopement issues.
I do have a question about a railroad track crossing that goes diagonally across Big Bend and Geyer. And you go into the intersection and you stop at that crossing, but you just said we could stop within 50 feet. So if you're at a red light at that intersection, does that count as you stopping so that when it turns green, you cross the track, or do you go and you stop at the track again? What's
That intersection you're talking, have you turned and are you facing the tracks already?
You're facing the tracks. It's different from different directions, of course. The
Right.
tracks
And on that
go
track,
from
yeah.
northeast to southwest. So if you're traveling north on Geyer, the tracks are in front of you, you're at the stoplight.
Mhm.
So you would go into the intersection and stop at the tracks at a green light.
They're within 50 feet of that track at that stoplight.
That's okay then? The stoplight is okay as your stop. So you can.
You're still gonna need to pull up initially to where you can look up and down.
You can
Look
see
up and down
pretty
the
well
Right.
from the
You can see up and down on
stoplight.
track from there, and you're within 50 feet,
Yeah,
then you're within CDL standards. It says
So-
50 to 15 feet.
great, then the green light, you check and you go.
Yes.
Yay forward.
I have a question. What about tracks that you know aren't being used? Like
Doesn't matter.
by Rose Acres?
Unless they say exempt, in big black letters, it'll say exempt. Posted on that railroad crossing sign. If it does not say exempt, you treat that track as a live track, regardless of whether you ever saw a train on there or not.
Okay.
So, we don't open our doors. Noise suppression switch. It's there for a reason. It'll kill all the noise inside your bus, all the fans. The only thing it doesn't shut off is your 2-way radio. Great to use, that way you're not fumbling around trying to turn off all these switches to get the noise settled down on your bus to where you can hear. Just remember, if you use it, turn it back off. Day like today, you use that noise suppression switch at the railroad crossing, about 5 minutes later, you're gonna know whether or not you turned it back on. Requesting silence on the bus. If you, as a driver, are the only one on that bus and you don't have an aide, you need to come up with some sort of a system with your students as to how you're gonna signal them that you need silence on the bus. Because we know kids aren't always quiet all the time. So we wanna make sure they're quiet at that time so we can go through our procedures. If there's monitors on the bus, and that's that student management part where they should be managing the students, keeping them quiet so the driver can go through the railroad crossing procedure. Evacuations. When we talk about evacuations, we should be about 2 weeks into our plans right now. Everybody that's got a route should have already been thinking, already started planning, how am I gonna evacuate this bus if I need to evacuate this bus? You don't start planning the day before we start doing our practices in October. The time to start planning is right now. You need to know what kids elope, what kids can help you, what kids are gonna have to go up first, last, all those things. So that's why you've got to plan ahead, come up with that plan. Yeah, I know we do a 6-week bid, 6 weeks in or so. That's okay, you can take that plan that you have and you can transfer that to whoever takes over that route if it happens to be that way. Doesn't mean you don't have to start planning until 6 weeks in. So start planning it now. You have a seating chart. Hopefully you guys, either the monitor or monitor and driver have seating charts on their clipboards or in their thing, of the students on their bus. That's gonna aid you when it comes to emergency situations, post-accident procedures and all that stuff. If you already have all that information down in the seating chart, you can transfer that information to a first responder rather quickly instead of saying, oh, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to make you a list. Okay? October and April will be our evacuation practices for the year, like always. So we will post the dates and times for those and the schools and when everything's gonna happen for those schools. Equipment. Move to this side. So make sure we're checking our buses. If you guys have extra equipment on your bus, please bring it back in. Turn it back into the equipment room. You shouldn't have these pouches that are to hold your wheelchair stuff, shouldn't be packed full of extra equipment. All that stuff needs to be brought back in to the room where we can have it there for another bus. We don't have enough equipment to duplicate every bus. It's just not possible. Make sure it's installed properly. If you have safety vests on your bus, I don't have a Bessie one right now because they're all being used. But you would have, the biggest problem we usually run into is the 2 maroon vests. One's a Bessie, one's an Easy On. Easy On has the parachute, Bessie has the round bullseye. If it's a Bessie vest, it would go with the color coordinated strap. If it's an Easy On vest, it would go with the black strap. They don't intermix. Would they work that way? Probably so. But the problem is, if you use this with this, nope, with this, or use the Bessie with the black one, and you get in an accident, and that equipment fails, it's on you. The manufacturer will not stand behind you because you did not use their equipment properly. So don't intermix them. Same thing with the wheelchair securement. We've got 4 different types on our buses. 2 Q straights, one has comfort knobs, one don't. All wheelchair locations should have 4 of the same kind. You either have 4 of these or 4 of these. You can't intermix them. Yes, they're both auto adjusting, but this is also has a manual adjustment to it, so we don't intermix these. Okay? These are Q string. Then you got your Sherlocks. We still have a few buses with the old buckles in them, and then we've got our S hooks. Again, don't intermix them. They need to be all 4 of the same type in each location. You can have all 4 types on that bus in 4 different locations, but that one wheelchair location should be all of the same type. For your Bessie vest, you're going to have the zipped in extenders. Make sure when you're using those extenders that you use a 4. If you need a 4, you can use a 4. If you need a 2, use a 2. If you need a 6, you can use a 2 and a 4. What you can't do is use a 2, 4, 2, 6, 8, 5, or however many you want to try and put on there. There's only 2 extensions, 1 4 and 1 2. If it needs to be more than that, you need to go to a bigger vest. I think that's it for wheelchairs.
Cleaning equipment on your bus. What type of cleaning equipment can we use on the bus? Come on, guys.
Only equipment that they provide.
The district approved equipment. You can use Windex, just take it off your bus afterwards. I know a lot of you guys have those little crates and stuff that have all your cleaning equipment and all your stuff in it, all your little stuff. Is it secured down? There's not gonna be a flying projectile if you have to stop suddenly. Get it secured down, either with Velcro, use a bungee cord, something to secure it down. How many people here have seen the first student buses or the Missouri Central buses going down the road and they've got 14 route sheets and other stuff across the dash? Does it look good? No. Let's keep our dashes clean. Nothing on the dashes, nothing in the windows, no route numbers or anything like that either. Our next person. Oh no, sorry. Height weight limit, sorry, I forgot this one. What's the highest, or what's the height limit that we can go under?
11.6.
12. We're gonna say 12, because you never know how many times it's been paved, how many times they've upgraded the sign, or not upgraded the sign. So anything under 12, let's not go. If you have any doubts, don't go. It's common sense. If you don't think you're gonna fit, don't commit. What's the weight limit for the buses? This is crickets. No less than 14 ton. So if you have a bridge that you might be, questionable about, come see us, we'll talk to you about it. We'll get it taken care of, or we'll figure out what you can do, or if you can go across it. Now we have Kevin from the shop.
Hey guys, we had some issues come up down south, mainly that I want to address to everybody, make sure everybody's on the same board as far as regeneration goes. What do we do when we have to regen? What is a regen? What is DEF? What does it mean when it's derating? We do regeneration because of our government. They say that they want our engines, diesel engines, to run just as clean as cars do. So therefore we have this thing called diesel exhaust fluid, aka DEF. So we have to add that to the system to clean that extra soot and all the extra particulates out. And it goes through these cycles every so often when you're running down the road, where it actually burns it out of there at an extremely high temperature, and that's basically what they call a regeneration. If it all works in progress, as it's supposed to and proper, you'll never know it's doing it other than it's a little louder. When it doesn't do it, that's when we have some issues, and that's what I'm here to cover. When do I need to contact the shop? When do I need to pull it off the road? We have several different models and years, as everybody knows. I did some homework last week and went out and took some pictures. Got several different dashes. The new Internationals are great. They actually have a gauge on them that looks like a fuel gauge. It's for your DEF. So it's really easy to see. You also have, which is, he's skipping around on me, but that's all good. And which is real great because you can see exactly where it is. You also have your Chevy's bands, which is great because it tells you exactly what it wants you to do on the screen there in the middle. The Thomas or C2s are a little bit different. They've got the little 4 green lights for your DEF levels. And then you have your Bluebirds, which are all known for having hot exhaust come across the center and beeping at you. All these things you don't need to call the shop. We know that they're happening. Now, we have 3 main lights in the regeneration light setup in conjunction with our stop engine and check engine lights. First light I'd like to discuss is our temperature light. You've got the little emblem kind of built in, looks like a little thermometer. It's all it means is your exhaust coming out your tailpipe is extra hot. It's either because it's wanting to do a regeneration or it's just finished a regeneration. That light's on. You don't need to tell us it's nothing. Just continue on with your route, park your bus, it doesn't matter. If it's on or not, shut it down, and you're good to go just as normal. In conjunction with some of these other lights I'm going to discuss, I took the pictures of a couple check engine and stop engine lights. They all look a little bit different. Rule of thumb, if it's yellow, it's a check engine light. If it's red, it's a stop engine light. So I'll discuss those more in a second. Go ahead, Kevin. The second light that we're going to discuss is what I call the raindrop light. It looks like got little raindrops in there. It's basically telling you that you need fluid. If it's on solid, not a big deal. Make sure you write it up in your DVR book. Bring it to Pete's attention when you get back. Or even mention it to one of us in the shop, and we'll make sure Pete gets the word. But it's not a dire emergency. You got a ways to go, but just don't prolong it for any reason. When I start to worry about it is when that same light starts flashing. It means I want fluid and I want fluid now. That's when you need to be calling into the shop, even if you are en route, and letting us know. That way we can make the decision on if we need to bring you fluid or we're going to let you go on. That's up to us. That way if something happens where it goes to stage 3 then, which is that same light is flashing and you have a check